There's so many power-ups in the Mario franchise that it's really hard to pick the worst or also the best, but in this video I'm gonna present you the 10 worst power-ups in the series, in my opinion. Remember, just because I think it's bad doesn't mean you think it's bad. Luckily, we are blessed to have a mind of our own, yay, but if you wanna tell me how stupid my list is, then you can gladly do so by commenting. I'm a masochist though, so be careful, I will probably like the insults. Let's get started. The Mega Mushroom. Ooh, look at me, I'm a giant Mario, this is so much fun! For the first time. It actually has nothing to offer except the initial wow effect. Apparently it first appeared in Mario Party 4, but most people will know it from the new Super Mario Bros. DS game. There's one of them in the very first level, and you can use it and destroy all the blocks and pipes. Wowzers. Imagine if Mario ate one of them while having sex with you and him literally impaling you while he grows. That's the most fun I can imagine having with this power-up, which basically means it makes me want to die. Well, great. The Mini Mushroom. Just like the Mega Mushroom, it first appeared in Mario Party 4, but again, most people will know it from the DS game. You can already guess what this one does, probably. Instead of making you Mega, it makes you Mini. So you're tiny and can see what the world looks like as a man like me, because I'm only 5'2" or 160 centimeters. It's also kinda useless. With the Mini Mushroom, you can beat some bosses and get to secret exits, and also run over water and jump higher with more floaty controls. It's still not the best, but at least a bit more fun than the Mega Mushroom because it offers a little bit more. The Superball Flower. This was basically the Fire Flower of Mario Land 1, but kinda worse, but also kinda more fun. You shoot a little ball that bounces every time it hits anything that isn't an enemy, and you can't shoot another one till your current ball is gone. For some reason I think it's just fun to miss enemies on purpose to see how the ball bounces around and see if it somehow hits the enemy anyways after a few bouncies. It's really fun to use in Mario Maker 2 though, because people build some really creative levels with the power up. But in Mario Land 1 it just feels, we wanna do something else that isn't the Fire Flower, so let's make the Fire Flower but in a bit worse. The Goomba mask just makes you look like a Goomba, and Goombas won't attack you anymore. Yay, because Goombas are normally such a tough enemy that you would rather not have attacking you. At least in Mario Maker 2 most enemies won't attack you if you wear it, so it's not just Goombas who won't attack. But in 3D World it's just the Goombas, so it's just totally useless. But sometimes I wonder how it feels like to be a Goomba, just a random little Goomba doing its little things and then getting stomped and disappearing into the nothingness. What a sad existence. If I were Peach, I would actually keep some lucky Goombas as my pets and loyal little toys for a reason I will not explain. Same with Koopas or other Mario enemies. Golden flowers and golden blocks. Capitalism. The items, yippee. With the golden flower you can turn enemies into coins and stuff, and with the golden block on top of your head you can run and generate coins. Wowzers, I sure love money. Uninteresting concept, just like the whole game's concept. Hey, collect so many coins and you get basically nothing for it. I played through it and it's an okay game, but Mario should be more than just okay. So I hope, like everyone else, the next 2D Mario game will blow our minds again, but hating on the new Super Mario Bros. Games is too mainstream nowadays. So as a contrarian I should say, nah, I can't. Sometimes even as a contrarian, I can't be against the popular opinion. Good games, but we need something new. That isn't new because they are new games, like the new games, but new. The Cape. I know exactly what you will do now. You will either say, what the heck? Or immediately press the dislike button or even close the video, but I can't change this. I do not like the cape at all. And you might say, skill issue, but I'm pretty decent with it, which is also a problem. If you suck with the cape, it's not really fun, except for spinning into enemies to kill them, but also if you're good with it, it's just too good. What is the fun of flying over the levels? I want to jump and run, and not just fly over everything. That's also a problem for the Raccoon or Tanuki Mario from Mario Bros. 3, or any flying power-up mostly, but I hate the cape a bit more, because it reminds me of superheroes and I do not like them. And Raccoons and Tanukis are awesome, that's why I didn't want to put them here. I never saw a raccoon in real life except at the zoo, and nowadays I hate zoos because it makes me feel sad for the animals, but I wish I had a pet raccoon. Something like a cool sidekick who sits on my shoulder while I go out with it and everyone will look at me. Actually I would hate that since it attracts so much unwanted attention and I'm really shy and socially anxious. Many people say the Galaxy games have pretty bad power-ups, but I actually like Bee or Boo Mario. But I can agree with those people that say Spring Mario is just terrible. He feels terrible to control, and imagine suddenly getting turned into a spring by the spring wrapping itself around yourself. And it will never go away, so now you bounce and jump everywhere you go. I don't want to talk more about it or else I will get nightmares, again, because I got a story involving video games and springs. When I was a kid, I had a friend who had a homebrewed PlayStation 1 and he had a whole big box of pirated video games. So sometimes we would just play random games, and one time there was a game that played on some kind of space station and it had an enemy that was half human and a half spring. The upper body was the human part, but their lower body was just a spring attached to it. It scared me so much that I had to ask him if his dad can take me home, because I couldn't fall asleep. In a way I got lucky because it was a sleepover and we went to bed at like 9 PM, which is just, what the heck? You had to go to bed so early on the weekend, especially at a sleepover. So I got back home and then just played more games. I tried to find the game again, but to this day I was never able to find it. Maybe if this description rang a bell for you, you can tell me the name of the game in the comments. You would be my hero. I want to see my fears right into its eyes. Or maybe it would scare me again. I'm still a huge scaredy cat. The Poison Mushroom. I know it's not actually a power-up, but basically an enemy that kills you if it touches you, but I couldn't think of a 10th power-up I really don't like, so I'm just putting this little fella here. He would like me placing him on this list since he's evil, and me placing him here is evil since it's against the rules basically, even though I didn't even make any rules. Rules are meant to be broken anyways after all. Please do not break the rules of the law though. Prison is not a nice place unless you live in Norway or Sweden, probably. I know how iconic these caps are, but in my opinion the caps in Mario 64 are mostly useless. You unlock them to get a star with them and then basically that's it already. The wing cap has the most use and it's a bit fun to use but fairly hard to get used to. I just don't like the controls really of it, but I can't deny it's really fun to just fly through the levels that got the wing cap sometimes. But the other two caps, they do not need to exist. In theory, if you ask someone what kind of caps they would want to have in real life, they would most likely answer the invisible cap. But it doesn't even make Mario totally invisible, he's more like half invisible, so it's a total scam actually. It would still be kinda useful to play pranks on people at least I guess. And when you touch things, it doesn't make the other things invisible either I think. So my plan would have been to become a master thief, to make lots of money by stealing electronics and selling them, but I could still easily get caught because people would see the package floating through the air and catch me like that. Heck, maybe I shouldn't become a criminal. And the more I think about it, most people would probably take the wind cap because it's the dream of most people to be able to fly. But what if the controls of it are also really bad IRL and everyone just crashes and dies? Who would even pick the metal cap? You are now made out of metal. You will never lose a box fight again, but that's kinda it. There's nothing to do as a metal man, at least I can't think of anything, just like the developers of Mario 64. Since Odyssey doesn't really have any power-ups, I will let the cap just count. And here it's the cactus by far. You throw Cappy on it and then you walk and boom, a star for you. But who didn't want to be a cactus at least once in their life? And I know there's tons of cacti fan out there, so I'm sure at least those enjoyed it, even if there's nothing else to do as a cactus. It's like a real life cactus. You put it somewhere and it just looks pretty where it sits. I think everyone should have some plants at home, it makes every place look better. And that were my least favorite Mario power-ups. Power-ups? More like impotent ups. Even though when you're impotent, you can't get it up anymore. Yeah, I don't enjoy my own life very much with jokes like these, but maybe you do, and that's why you want to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, to share some of your own happiness. Have a good day, or evening, or maybe morning, depending on what time you watch the video. Have a good one.